Looks like Joy Reid took over for Melissa Harris Perry, which, in my opinion, is pretty good. I don't know if she's going to keep this spot, but it looks like she's going to have it through the election season. Anyway, this, in case you guys missed it, the state of Michigan finally came out with the finalized report on the Flint water crisis and who caused it. And I'll make my commentary after this particular clip.
Since news of the pervasive water contamination in Flint, Michigan broke in October, any attempt to determine who is at fault has resulted in a cycle of finger-pointing. But a new report could provide the definitive answer. On Wednesday, an independent advisory task force of 5 people appointed by Governor Snyder in October issued its final 116-page report on the Flint water crisis. Its conclusion?
The Flint water crisis is a story of government failure, intransigency, unpreparedness, delay, inaction, and environmental injustice.
The task force found that the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the governor, the governor's office, and state-appointed emergency managers all share the blame for the lead and Legionnaire's crisis in Flint. As for how contaminated water was provided to residents for so long, the task force had this to add.
It's not just a matter of misreading the lead and copper rule. It's a cultural issue that we'll address.
Noting that the residents of Flint, one of the poorest cities in the country, are mostly black, the report laid bare that those residents did not enjoy the same degree of protection from environmental and health hazards as that provided to other communities. After the task force's presentation, Governor Snyder, who has rebuffed that notion that racism has played a role in the crisis before, was directly asked if he now believes racism was a factor.
There's always more work we can be done. In terms of the actions taken by people, in terms of switching water supply, I don't know if you can conclude it was a racial issue by any means, but I can't answer that question.
The task force listed 44 recommendations to correct and prevent another crisis, including a thorough review of Michigan's emergency manager law and other separate investigations that could lead to criminal charges or civil actions are still ongoing. And up next.
All right, so anyway, the governor's own 5-member special committee basically is telling the world that it wasn't the local officials who were responsible for this, but it was the state that was actually responsible for doing this, and that the EPA was complicit in not doing their job and pushing the state. Now, the 5-member panel basically said this problem occurred, plain and simple, because of state-sponsored racism. And they said it in plain English. Now, the governor, when he's asked about it, now, before he said, that, no, that wasn't racism, it was just one of those things. Now, his own board is telling him that the cause had its basis in racism against black people and against poor people, which is classism. All right, and now he doesn't know all of a sudden. And as far as that emergency manager situation is concerned, that what they need to do is they need to put forth a law that completely eliminates emergency managers, because the emergency managers really were at the heart of this thing. They decided that since the city was black and poor, that they wanted to go on the cheap. And the committee stated that if this had been a well-to-do white community, that this would have never happened. So I'm just continuing to do a follow-up. Now, I'm still waiting for that asshole out of Utah, Mike Lee, to get off his ass and allow the feds to come in with money that's going to help not only Flint, but a lot of other cities around the country that are facing contaminated water issues. But for some reason, he's decided that it's this has got to be paid for, and he's trying to take money away from improved cars, futuristic cars, loans and grants in that area. He wants that money taken and used in this crisis, and that's bullshit. Now, Utah is doing pretty well, but God forbid that they have a water crisis in Utah. Then let's see how fast he gets up off his ass and is pushing forward on this bill. And pretty much what they need to do is just take a vote in whatever the hell committee he's in, let him be in a minority, and then bring that bill out to the floor, pass the damn bill, and get this thing going. But that's that's a Republican for you.